One reason I'm so excited about Africa is I really believe Africa as a whole, but it's probably going to start with one nation, um, is just underestimated. It's just there's so much potential in Africa. There's so many youth who are been learning, who want a different pathway, and in the United States we still have racism here. I believe it's even gotten worse more recently, and people still misunderstand Africa. They think of villages and huts and things like that, and that's not at all most of Africa. Sure, there are places that are like that, but that's not most of Africa. Um, so so one of the things that I'm working on is because of that cost differential, similar to how India was able to really become huge in the economics, the digital economy, because of the cost differential of Africans versus the United States. I think there's an opportunity for Africa to become huge in the AI economy because no place else is doing that. I'm open to other developing economies. Africa is not the only place in the world that could use development, but I think Africa is the most underestimated, and so that's why I am so keen on supporting Africa. But I think you said early on about unlearning in this conversation, and that's one big thing. A lot of transformation requires unlearning. A big example I give, everybody says, "Oh, so you're doing it in Malawi? You've been to Malawi?" I'm like, "No, why?" Because as I started that internet provider a long time ago, my mind was transformed that we're in the global village. Talking to you in Ghana, oh, no biggie. I mean, it's just like talking to my neighbor, right? I mean, but that's an unlearning. Seeing our physical presence and our physical reality around us and being then opening our minds to that, okay, for many, many things, that is not a limitation. We have the world as our thing. And African, I think, needs to see that a lot because I think the real exporting that's going to be happening in the future is going to be e-exporting, where somebody from Africa could be able to provide, especially as an entrepreneur, be able to provide, intellectual products to the United States. I coined a phrase called virtual onshoring in 2008, and after I did that, nobody used the term, but after I did that, I even wrote an open letter to President Paul Kagame about this in Rwanda, and he probably never even read it. But long story short, it started happening. You had things like Fiverr and all these other things where people started to be able to sell their things. But with AI, this can even be accelerated more. And anybody in Africa, especially utilizing that you have a lower cost of living than the United States, you can be, with the right learning, you could have the same skills and competencies as anybody here. And honestly, it's pretty hard to put tariffs on electronic traffic on this kind of stuff. So I'm not sure. I'm sure if it gets too big, our president will try to do that. But it is still a place of free trade and free ideas. And being able to sell to a more developed market, I think, is the quickest way for Africa to really grow economically. And all of that is requiring true education, looking at what's really needed to be able to serve those markets and rethinking things. I think Africa can do it. Sometimes those, again, you least expect, where there's the lowest expectations, which is sad because Africa shouldn't have the lowest expectations, but the world does. But it gives Africa this opportunity to really just go wham and enter the marketplace just like India did and say, what the heck happened there? Where everybody, you know what I'm saying?